Hey, welcome back. Once again, trying to get to 2000 in my puzzle rating. In this one, it looks like I will have a discovered check when I move this bishop. That appears to be my only possible check in this position. I do have also a capture, only made possible because of this discovered check. Not only do I capture a pawn and say check at the same time, but the bishop placed here will cut off one of the king's escape routes, forcing the king here. I believe that would be White's only legal move in that position, and then bringing the bishop back to here would not quite be checkmate because this pawn can move forward. Then the bishop will go here, and I believe that will be checkmate. That's what I'm going to try. Okay. Then bring the bishop back. The only thing that, because my queen still cuts off this entire file, so the only possible move will be that. And when I capture it, I believe that will be checkmate. Oh, getting close. Ooh, I got 9 points for that. That's pretty good. Oh, I got a speed bonus of 81%, it says. Okay. That's not bad. Wait, is that cut off? Is this not showing up correctly in my video screen? I apologize. I did not notice that at first. Okay. Going to the next puzzle with 17 points to go. Well, I do have a check. This is also a check, but fails spectacularly to that pawn capture. So this is my only check. It would be guarded by the king. And these, all these spots will be guarded by my king, and these will be guarded by my rook, which will force the king over one square. Let's see. What I could follow that with this check. Because the pawn will be covering that square, so the king will not have any legal moves that will, I believe, and no other pieces can block except the pawn. The pawn, I think, will be forced to go, and then I will capture it. I'm going to try that. Okay. Because, again, this check is no good because of the pawn. So I believe it has to be this. Oh, I missed something. Let's, that was disappointing, but let's see, what did I miss? Did I miss any other captures? It does want me to give up the rook. It wants me to do that. So the pawn can't block this? Would it now be the bishop? No. Well, because now the king can just escape this way. Is it, oh, is it this? Okay. I hope this doesn't mess up the video too much, but I'm going to go to the, it says mate in 3. I'm going to go here. And again, at this point, the king's only move is here. Okay, now it says bishop to e3 is a draw, according to the here, and that's because the pawn goes up. Okay, I see what it is. When I recapture the pawn, then the king can go here, coming after my rook. Okay, so here it has to be a rook sacrifice. And whether they block, or capture. Either way, this is mate. Okay, I do understand now. Apologize for that short excursion. I did not understand how the first one would not be a mate, but it was because of the king would then have an escape square after that pawn moved. Okay, I have lost some points, but I am still ahead. So let's see what we have. We have my queen under threat. This battery is not looking good for my king. And once this pawn is out of the way, white also has this open file for the queen. So it's not looking good. Let us look. I do have a check, but it is not a great one. However, it might result in a forced checkmate. And this is my thinking. The king will not be able to come here or here. One because of the bishop, and the other would be because of the rook. And because these two pieces would be facing each other, the only option would be to capture. That would be the only legal move. Then I would come across with my queen, saying check, and my queen would cover all of these squares. The bishop is still covering that one, which would force the king here, and then I would go here protected by the pawn. Unless I'm missing something, but I don't think I am missing anything here. Okay, that was a forced checkmate. Kind of on pins and needles because I see that 2000 is within my grasp. Okay. White has this pawn protected by its rook, but it's not quite a passed pawn. But it will be as soon as my pawn is out of the way. However, it cannot capture my pawn without me capturing that pawn. And I have this passed pawn. Let us see. Should I just move this pawn? And that way, when they capture here, I capture that? Well, because my thinking is if I try to do some checks here, as soon as I run out of checks, let's just for the moment assume I run out of checks. When it's white's turn, if they capture here with check, and I capture this pawn, they get my other pawn, and we're each left with a rook. That's why I was considering moving this pawn first, because that saves that pawn, doesn't it? Let's see. Then the rook would come over behind this pawn. I wouldn't be able to get back in time. Okay, so I would lose both pawns. Okay, so it would be pointless to move that pawn. That leaves me with the option of check somehow, either here or here are my two possible checks. I have the advantage of having my king in close proximity to the enemy king. So let's see. If I check... Whoa. Sorry, what happened? If I check here, the king moves. Then I have to move to protect my rook. No, I could bring the rook back. But... I just don't know. What happens if I check here? The king is going to move to either one of these two squares, right? And then do I just come back? Because then it's just going to go back. Or do I move here to get out of this impingement? No, because then this pawn can advance. Oh, goodness. Okay, I might just fail this one, huh? Because I currently cannot capture this pawn. I can't even really threaten to capture it. Because of check. And then If I do capture it, then it's just check again. And I've lost a pawn for a pawn. The reason I don't like this check, besides the fact that I then either have to come back or forced to defend my rook, is the fact that it blocks this pawn, which in a longer game, I don't think it'll get that far in this puzzle, but in a longer game, I think that would be a problem. That's why I like this check the most. But still, this king is going to go to one of these two squares, and I don't know what I can do about that other than try to get an opposition and recheck. Or should I move my king first, threatening checkmate? Ooh. Maybe in this case the threat of mate outweighs the check. Normally checks outweigh threats, but in this case the threat is checkmate. And once I've moved my king there, white cannot check me immediately. I'm going to try that. Okay, that was it. Because then this is mate after the rook blocks, right? Oh, it was. Oh, so good for me. I'm glad I took a little extra time on that. Thank you for being patient. If you've made it this far, some of you probably think these are obvious. Since I'm already past 11 minutes, I'm going to stop, but thank you for watching. We will try to hit 2,000 next time.